lot of expectations what the country is going to do and what would be its impact actually. I am actually pained to see the prevailing India's unperformed markets, political opportunism, fiscal profligacy, and the private sector's unregulated greed. A disturbing situation has crept into policy-making institutions, have actually decayed, and the economic structural deficiencies have worsened. Politicians are using religious discord and caste conflicts to drive a wedge in the society. Elections after elections, we have not learned the lessons from the past. With an eye to come to power, our politicians has devastated a billion hopes. Perhaps our claims to the largest democracies in the world has taken a beating, as we witness every day with violent clashes between the two common enemies, the ruling party at the center and the regional power center. A billion hope needs a positive vibes, dream to win big, dare to challenge the mighty system. The China-USA Cold War in trade, technology and finance comes with its own rich prospects. Ladies and gentlemen, opportunities you couldn't imagine growing up in the 1970s and 80s emerged from nowhere and changed our lives. And many of us believe that history will keep repeating with the pain of the pandemic shocking the economy out of the pre-COVID inertia. The end of history's equivalence that greeted many generations of Indians in the early 90s is unlikely to repeat. Besides creating jobs amid rising automation will require heavy spending on social security, healthcare, childcare, housing and education. 4 out of 5 women in India's cities were not in the workforce even before COVID. China, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are all doing better. So we need to introspect in a much bigger way actually. So it breaks my heart to have to suggest in today's rising generation that this crisis is different than others. We have weathered that the walls are closing in again and the opportunity set for India is shrinking, perhaps for a very long time to wait. The vulgarity of crony capitalism became a lighting rod for mass mobilization. An India against corruption movement fed a frenzy of disgust against crooked politicians and the businessmen who were absorbing farmers' land, promising to create jobs and then not delivering. Ironically, the movement lost its tracks and many notable reformers left the movement as they sparked political nexus and opportunism. The movement made Narendra Modi as the next Prime Minister of India and Arvind Kejriwal as the next Chief Minister of New Delhi. Now, punishing the corrupt and directionless Congress but couldn't empower the common man. My concern is that a billion hopes was crushed, dreams shattered. Modi has a complaint that he is not given a due importance and a little credit as an economic reformer, that he has brought in the bankruptcy law, GST, PSU, bank consolidation, FDI relaxations and so on. But still too many people, especially the most respected economists, do not see him as a reformer. We need to know where the gap is all about. Home buyers don't trust builders to deliver homes. Financiers don't trust property developers to repay loans. The government doesn't trust either the builder or the lender. Nobody trusts politicians, though Modi, like all strongman leaders, can elicit any response he wants from the public. During the coronavirus lockdown, he asked Indians to light candles, go on the terrace and bang actual utensils. They did so as told. Worse, there are millions of families in similar circumstances today. With too much of differences, prices of everything including education, which was almost free for us, are decided by a small consuming class and a billion class must struggle to afford them. The post-lockdown economy will simply not have enough demand to consumer what can be produced. There is some attempt to reform the supply side, labor and farm markets in particular, but not too much is being done to revive demand. Either in the short or the long term, some of us are in fact wondering if this callousness will cause India's demographic dividend. 2 out of 3 Indians are still in the magic age group of 15 to 64 years guys to go unclaimed. Yes, there is time if India stops turning inwards and embraces an open, transparent partnership with global investors, hundreds of millions of more would get a sort of prosperity. A stagnant world could tap actually a new source of future demand. The West might win a strong and reliable security partners in Asia. The 90s optimism will renew itself. But if India remains stuck in middle income trap, then the people will soon stop asking if it could be the next China my generation already has. Unlike China, which was saving more than half of its national income before 2018 global financial crisis, India lacked the capital to sustain liberalizing economy through messy cycles of coalition politics, led on to build the roads, power plants, and other basic infrastructure. To address the deeply entrenched issue in economy, India therefore must prioritize and, as I believe, strengthening its laws and institutions that govern bankruptcy resolutions of time. Developing a suitable medium-term fiscal strategy, thereby building resilience in fiscal management and adaptation in coming years. Reviving private investments by improving state-capital relations and easing binding constraints on productivity, and increasing procedural transparency and effective grievance redressal mechanism to ensure greater support for and adoption of digital transformation. To deal with challenges across the short, medium, and long term, India's domestic economy therefore needs to be tied to its external engagements. In the post-pandemic world, guys, ensuring external stability will be key, essential to building resilience at home. Our key recommendations are predicated upon a world of shifting integrated geo-economic, geopolitical, and strategic balances. Given the right policies, this may serve as an opportunity for India. We recommend that India balance its lopsided economic relationship with China and recalibrate its engagement with Asian states, playing a stronger role in developing South Asia and having a clearly defined Indo-Pacific strategy, and will help India safeguard its interest. This is the most crucial aspects of today's discussion. Consider emerging as a viable alternative to farm. Relocating from China, given shifting trade relations, India could position itself as a strong alternative. In addition to building capacity, India will have to balance an image of being economically self-sufficient, yet keen on building trade relations. Guys, invest and strengthen in digital infrastructure, and to meet the demands of a world reliant on technology, India must work very hard. Knows decisions to build digital capability. Without building a domestic capacity, India loses the opportunity to play a pivotal role in key transactional projects. This is an important issue to raise. I believe India should undertake a strategic reorientation of existing assets to create more usable military assets. This conjuncture, guys, has exposed all states to internal and external vulnerabilities. Adapting to an unsettled future will require recasting national priorities and reimagining models of governance. In this context, the manner in which India manages its internal and external challenges within its constitutional demography framework will have significant impact and implications for the emerging world order. The pandemic has deepened existing fault lines in the Indian economy. Moreover, India now will have to deal with unpredictable changes in trade, investments, private consumption, and government expenditure. Fiscal policy will need to grapple with extent and limit the state's ability to raise and deploy resources. Monetary policies is a key field which will need to be much more adaptive and will need to find new ways to effective in these precarious times. India will also need nimble trade policies that respond to fast changing trends in the global commerce and a geopolitical situation that is fast actually changing. Indeed, India needs much more than recovery. It must also build a strong sense of long term and to be able to adapt to less certain future. Achieving a higher degree of policy elasticity is a monumental task. But recovery will also amount to a little unless long-standing structural constraints are addressed in a different way. That is why I say that rebuilding India is going to be a daunting task. It is not at all difficult, but we have to find out the ways how to do it. I am broadcasting this India Leadership Conclave platform at a time when the farmers' strike is nearing a month end actually, and we don't know what direction we are going. First of all, we need to understand what the agricultural reforms is all about. I think people are very suspicious about what the agricultural reforms are all about. The opposition parties must come forward and have a constructive dialogues with the ruling dispensation to find out where the lacuna is all about. Another thing which is